So, hello everybody. I'm really happy to see you. Oh, actually I don't see you, but I see today Victor Perez. Welcome him in our series of educational streams about KeenTools, nodes, and tracking in general. So I don't know how to introduce Victor because Victor is so versatile. He is director, he is VFX artist, he is just amazing man, and probably you know how to introduce you better.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. Well, I'm just someone who knows a few tricks and things about compositing, and I have been sharing that with you guys. So probably you know me about for my courses or whatever I have been doing to ruin any film in there. So yeah, I'm very excited to be in this live stream with you, man, and I'm really huge fan of your KeenTools.
Thank you, Victor. Most likely, you folks know Victor much better than me. He's much more popular person in VFX community. So, today we're gonna talk about how to trick deformable models with skeletons. But before we start, I'd like to show how to ask questions. First of all, please ask your questions in YouTube.
Ask questions. First of all,
and Victor will read it. And actually, Victor, today is your voice. And also between the streams, we are all developers and me personally in Discord. The link is above. And so we answer all questions here as well. So please join us and a bit of context before we start. So it's the fourth stream, and the first one was about the probably most important thing in all our tools, which called pin tool, and it's the main approach that we have in our tools, that and this vis-a-vis approach, what you see is what you get, and we discussed a lot how to use it, and then we switched to GeoTracker, and we have already 2 streams about it. The first one covered some basic stuff and then some advanced tips and tricks, and the last one about GeoTracker is about deformable tracking of deformable objects. And the next time we're gonna switch to faces, and there will be a series of streams about face building, face tracking, and so on, and all of this inside Nuke. So but before we start, I have a really pleasant moment. I'm pleased to announce the winner of the contest which I've run last time. And contest winner is Pavel Ushakov. And Victor, last time I asked our viewers to track several a bit tricky shots with different vehicles. The first one was this, it's a result which sent Pavel to us. The first one was with this Ford. And
wow.
Yeah, and it took him like 10 keyframes. By the way, there was a guy with basically the same result, but with 3 keyframes.
Yeah.
And the second shot was the trickiest one, and here it is. It was this Ferrari and lots of smoke.
Smoke in there, which is making things quite interesting to work.
Always. And I have to say that except several frames, everything is pretty solid here. And the last shot was also with Ferrari, but there were several tricky stuff with in the very beginning and the very end of this sequence when it goes behind the trees.
Yeah. You see a bit of the the cylinder a bit off when it's covered by the tree.
Yeah,
but nothing that you cannot fix by hand easily.
Yeah, so it is always tricky how to track solidly. And actually, if we look at the very end of the sequence, we can see some... have you seen it? Like slip on one frame, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate Pavel, and so he won personal license for any of our product.
Oh, wow. I want to participate, man. I want one of those. This is amazing.
Next time I will notify you as well. Cool.
It's really cool.
So today we're gonna switch to ReadRiggedGeo node. So what is it? It's like ReadGeo, but with rig. So you know that in unfortunately in Nuke you can't read any 3D model out of the box with skeleton inside. So that's why we created such ability. So first I'm gonna show you some small funny demo. Gonna make it a bit. Most likely you've already seen it. It was quite a long time ago. It was even before the first official release. So here we read the node, the model boss, and you see all bones inside. And here we have a bones tree. Unfortunately, it looks a bit ugly, like with this pseudo graphics tree, but it's okay to use. Unfortunately, we can't use the tree control from Nuke itself. So,
like the one in the roto, for instance.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not available in API.
For developers, yeah.
So now we can manipulate with this skeleton, and like everything you do in Nuke with axis knob, you just click on any joint, you can rotate it, drag it, and so on.
Wow!
So it means that you can not just read the model, you can also adjust it.
Wow!
For instance, you have a model of a laptop and you want to adjust it right in Nuke. But what is more cool, you can set up keyframes.
This is really cool for certain automation tasks when you have to do something like, paint over and use geometries to project over and then blend that geometry. This is really, really cool.
Yeah, actually, it was the intention. And also, you can read animations from file. So,
Oh, wow.
FBX carrying animations inside, so you can read any of them. But you cannot just read it, you can also modify them. So you have the ability to change any bone with the help of expression. So and that's why this node appeared to be very useful on its own. For example, Vlad Akhtirsky, and when he was in Framestore and working on Jungle Book, he created out of focus bushes and trees with the help of this node. He created some models with skeletons and animations in 3D packages, and then he could manipulate with wind, with location and so on, right in compositing, and even render inside Nuke because they are out of focus, and it's pretty useful. But obviously we didn't create it for animation or something like this. No, the intention was a bit different. We wanted to bring deformable objects inside Nuke. And here by deformable I mean something that has some rule how it can deform. So and obviously skeleton is one of such rules. There could be different rules, but skeleton...
Yeah, something like a tree, for instance, tree moved by the wind. So you can apply different deformers to the branches of the tree and, you know, the whole structure. So anything can be sensible to be used with this.
Yeah. So, and yeah, let's first discuss the format of this input file. So it should be FBX or DAE colada, and all the bones should be in neutral scale, so no scales are supported, and it should be a single mesh without hierarchies and so on. It should be just single mesh skinned to bones, and that's it. And so otherwise there could be two different options. First of all, you can see like a big red thing on top of the input video with some unreadable error. Most likely it means that it's a wrong FBX format, and or you just cannot see any bones, and most likely it means that it's not properly skinned.
Yeah.
So let's go further to some actual tracking. First I'm gonna show some video demo, and then we switch to Nuke and try everything hands-on.
So you are going to show us live. Oh my God, the master at work. Nice. This is insane.
So first we need to import the model, and that's why we created this ReadRiggedGeo. Terrible name, we have to rename it. ReadRiggedGeo. We already discussed bones. So then you can use this as an input to GeoTracker. Like previously we used just ordinary geometries, we use this one. We calculate pre-calculation file. It's colorful.
Oh wow.
And very important thing, set up constraints. You have to set up constraints in order to fix some degrees of freedom.
Yeah.
And setting up keyframes is pretty the same like in GeoTracker. Just drag and drop pins, or you can use axis node for it.
So you are adapting the model with the articulations, so you can get the same position of your model that the photography that you have in front of you.
Exactly. And yeah, then we track it. Setting up keyframes and so on. I'm gonna switch off the music.
Yeah.
I'm a bit
people in the chat is telling us, yeah, let's switch off the music. I can sing for you guys if you feel like bored. No worries. Wow, look at this.
That's the result.
Come on.
And yeah, let's export it. So regarding the export, it's pretty tricky thing. First of all, the only format which can be used for export is ABC, Alembic, because for some strange bug in Nuke, FBX doesn't support it. And also, have you seen it? We can export transform geo which bound to any joint, to any bone. So you can add any object to any part of your object.
Yeah.
So basically that's it. And yeah, now we're gonna try everything hands-on.
Oh my God.
So yeah, about output. So you can export either object, sequence, or animated Alembic file. No fpics, unfortunately. Probably it's already fixed in Nuke. I haven't checked it in the last version, but previously there was an issue.
Well, but to be honest, you know, the Alembic is now the king of the formats for exportations of 3D objects. So I don't get much bother to use the FBX lately. I have been working almost just with ABC files.
Yep, me either. So what we're gonna track today? So first of all, we're gonna track this thing. Whoa, what? I'm gonna delete everything. Sorry. and even this and this and this. So we're gonna when I have this shooting. Oh, let me show the original file. One moment. Because it's funny. When we have this shooting, oh, let me switch off. So there was a guy who showed me how this robotic arm works, and it has some robustness, and you can manipulate with it. And I say, oh, make it bigger. And I tried it, and it makes like something like, and it's stuck. And I like, what's going on? And this robotic this robotic arm costs like I don't know, like several hundreds thousand of dollars.
What? Oh my God!
And what I just made.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, fortunately, it was just a minor issue, and it cost me like nothing because.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So let's track this moment when the robot tried to kill me, or this part. Yeah, this part. So, gonna close it here and open a Nuke.
So in the meantime, I'm telling the guys in the chat, I am on YouTube. So if you guys want to ask me any questions for Roman, just go ahead. I'm here. So.
And actually, if you have any questions to Victor, please ask them as well. Here's
okay,
a guest
yeah.
here.
So we are here between friends. So let's talk about that.
Okay. So I already cached it, and I have a model. I have a model which I've actually downloaded from the official website of this robotic arm, and I added some joints and bones in Blender. So basically here we have just a linear skeleton, and we have just like 1, 2, 3, 6 joints and base joint here. And yeah, we can manipulate it easily. Like, I hate it in Nuke.
Yeah, Nuke is not the best choice for a 3D artist, I would say. But you know, for what we need as compositors, I believe it's more than enough. I mean, and of course, you need your tools, because I cannot imagine Nuke without your tools, seriously. You don't have a full 3D space if you don't have the KeenTools, guys. So if you haven't tried it, just get to the website and download the trial, because once you use it, you cannot live without that.
I haven't paid it for it.
Not yet, not yet. No. I'm just telling you. That's why I'm collaborating with Roman. I'm a really big fan of the work of his company and everybody at KeenTools. They did an amazing job, and I truly believe the KeenTools should be like the default in Nuke. I don't know why it is not even in the package. When I get Nuke, I have my KeenTools already installed. So that is something for another conversation.
That's a nice idea. So, what we have here, so I've created GeoTracker, and now I can connect background, camera obviously, and geometry. And as geometry, I use this freshly read geometry from ReadRiggedGeo. Okay, so now in GeoTracker, it looks a bit different. Oh, trial will expire in one day. We are forced.
You should get a license. It's really nice. I can give you the contact.
Let's ignore it. So in GeoTracker, I'm gonna show several differences in contrast to ordinary tracking. So first of all, we can switch between different colorings, like two colors, rainbow by depths, just rainbow. For linear rig, it's basically the same, and just ordinary one color coloring. So I think this one is funny. I like rainbow. Okay, so and on the results tab, we also have my table with all bones, and here we can set up constraints, and that's the next thing we have to do. So first of all, I'm gonna fix the base joint entirely, because actually the base, the basement of my model, it's basically the same like the transform geo. So these parameters, it's exactly the same like these parameters. So it's always better to minimize the number of parameters. That's the general idea. Okay, and yeah, let's try to roughly place it. And everything is pretty the same like with rigid models. I just drag and drop spins, and I'm trying to set up them.
So what you are doing right now is not changing the size of the or deforming your geometry. You are just aligning the perspective. So it's not changing the geometry.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's locating of geometry. So it's basically the same like transform geo, but transform geo on steroids. When you can just look at the projection and align it correspondingly.
Yeah. Same as the model builder, for instance. Yeah, it's the same principle.
Yeah. Actually, we were inspired by model builder. It's not a secret.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And then, after I made it, I can basically fix all rotations and translations for this model. Because I know that it's pretty stable. It stands on a table. So I will fix them all. And let's see. If I try to drag something now, you see there's something weird happens with my model.
Yeah.
Because there are some limitations on rotations, and let's find them. So if I open this model in 3D and select it, I can now take a look at my joints, for example, joint 1, and I see that the only possible way to rotate this joint is around green axis, Y. So I will fix X and Z axis. The same with joint 2, but this time it could rotate around Z. So I will fix Y and X. And the next joint, again, it's vertical, and I should fix everything but Y.
So you are creating the logic of the turn, just to recreate the same rotation that the engine is doing in the real model. I mean, in the real robots.
Absolutely. So basically the same we can do it with any model. For example, if you want to animate your knee, you know that you can rotate it only like this, or for example, like here. You can rotate it here, but you can't. You can even do like this, but you can't do in this way.
It cannot go sideways.
In ideal world. So okay, at joint 3, we already fixed it. Joint, where is joint 4? Joint 4 here. We need to fix what? Z, everything but Z. And actually, if you look at them, they just go Z, Y, Z, Y. So now I have to fix Y and Z again. Okay, so now if I switch to 3D mode and drag this pin, now this robotic arm works exactly like it should without breaking the joints. Yep. Bigger screen. Yeah, something like this. Do we have any questions at the moment?
No, not on YouTube. Maybe I'm just going to connect on the Discord. I don't have.
Probably it's not the right place during the live stream itself. So it's more for between the streams. Okay, so now I will place my model one by one. I have also one extra button here which called reset bones, and I can just rotate it. Very easy.
Oh, wow.
Just with pins, and it's pretty useful. You can do basically the same if let's open one more viewer, and in viewer I can switch to 3D. And I can do basically the same in 3D. So I can manipulate in one viewer and see the result in the other one.
Yeah.
And okay, so, but personally I prefer use pins for this. For me it's much simpler.
And also it's the logical way, because you want to match and to track a certain position, which is the one that you have in that particular frame. So it will make sense. And when I'm using the model builder and all the 3D into the 2D world features in Nuke, I'm always having, as you have both versions of the viewer, the projection of the 2D and also the 3D object as it is, just to check that the shape and everything makes sense, because sometimes you can get weird perspective cheating, because you don't see in one frame if the position is correct or not. So having a 3D feedback is always a good idea.
Yep, absolutely, especially for models like human body or something like this.
Oh yeah.
When one perspective view is not enough to understand what's going on with model. So you see, now everything is almost okay, but almost. And most likely it's because this initial placement of the object was a bit wrong. And even a small angle in initial placement will affect the whole placement a lot. And because this part of the model is relatively small, it's really easy to get this error. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to close first this pane and switch off this fixed ticks here in order to manipulate it freely and place it absolutely correctly in 3D. And so it looks pretty okay here.
Okay, while Roman is fine-tuning the position, Akam is asking me, do you have any plan for make a Nuke or VFX masterclass? Well, I'm going to release very soon, actually next month, I'm going to release with FX PhD a very long overdue class that I have on CG integration in photorealism. And that is something that is going to be available on fxphd.com. Yeah, that was something that I promised years ago, but I have been really, really busy. So sorry, guys, if I have not publishing as much as I like. I would love to have a course about the KeenTools. So stay tuned, because sooner or later I'm going to drop it. I'm going to get this class because I really love this thing. So yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys. And actually, you have to take a look at the course, the upcoming course of Victor. I'm sure it would be amazing. Okay,
Thank you.
I think we are done with the first keyframe now. And if we switch to 3D, yeah, here it is. So now we can just click track button, and we need to have pre-analysis file before. I've already calculated it, and it should be something.
So you can calculate it, save it, and then share that calculation without needing of doing that every time.
Yeah, so you actually have to do it just once, and you can automate it and do it on a render farm or something like this without waiting for it. But actually, we recently implemented use GPU button, and it's now like 3 or 4 times faster, and it's just almost no time for calculate them.
Nice, nice.
Okay, so let's track it. I track it backwards first. And
that's it.
Basically,
that's it. Just 100 frames like that.
And
no, it was just.
No, it was just
from the beginning. Okay. It still is super fast.
It's a bit slower than for rigid bodies, obviously, because the task is more complex. But yeah, it's pretty fast. I believe that it's pretty fast enough.
Because it's like tracking 7 parts that are moving. So it's 7 geometries tracking contemporary. I still remember the first time I saw the GeoTracker many years ago, that someone just showed me and they say, hey, there is someone that created this thing for Nuke. It was considered for echo, for tracking the screen of the phone. And he's like, shut up. No, nobody can track in Nuke. And then I saw that and it's like, all the way, let's do that. So the tracking of the phone in Echo, in my short film Echo, it was done with that. Of course, it was the easiest way.
I didn't know it.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't know it? Okay, well, I should share more things. Okay, I thought, because I'm always afraid to repeat myself, so maybe that's why I'm not telling always the same story. But yeah, it was so easy. So we have the model of the phone that is an iPhone, and come on, seriously, the iPhone is just a block. So it was really easy. You just need to adjust a few keyframes, and by using that surface, we created the reflection of the sky, just to replace not only the screen, but also to apply the reflection of the sky using a dome. So it was really, really cool.
Okay, so what's going on here? We actually already tracked it. I'd say it's not accurate enough, because you see it's a bit slipped away here, and we're gonna fix it now. Let's see how it looks at the moment, and then we add one more additional keyframe to fix it.
So this is the result of one keyframe.
Yeah, just one keyframe in the very beginning.
It's like, come on, just with one keyframe you get all of that.
The cool thing about tracking of objects with rigs is that, for instance, this part, there are almost no features on it. Like, it's pretty smooth, and just probably several features here. But because we have, for example, features here, it tracks okay because it's all bound to each other. So you just minimize the number of degrees of freedom for the object. So okay, let's set up one additional keyframe here, like probably here. Something goes wrong here.
So Igor is saying, Roman, I still know that you have two 1080 Titan under your table. This is about the fastest analysis with the GPU option.
Well, actually, it's absolute truth. I have two of them, but only one is working. And yeah, and actually, it's really speed up the process of pre-analysis. Really, it's like it's more than 10 times faster than on my laptop.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hardware matters.
Very good cards.
Now they're pretty cheap enough, I'd say.
Yeah. Guys, you have no idea about how fast can this be done with my two RTX 8000. They are both connected and bridge. This is just like running crazy. It is really cool. It is really cool. Okay. GPU now is like the thing.
Yeah, so now I'm done. I think I'm pretty done with tracking. The cool thing that, for example, even this jittering in the very end.
Yeah, it's quite there.
Yeah.
Is there a tiny delay between the 3D representation and the actual frame that you see behind? Because sometimes it feels like it's right now. It seems like it's going ahead.
It's an issue of Nuke, unfortunately. Even, for example, if you look at some heavy rotor or something like that, even not heavy, just ordinary rotor, this rotor control is always one frame ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah, no.
I mean, you can render always a flipbook or something that is going to pre-render the view, and that is going to be more accurate in case you need
actually,
it.
Actually, after the first loop, when it's cached, everything is okay. So the thing, the issue appears only on first run. So, okay, we are done with it, and now let's take a look at it first in 3D. I took it, and now.
Oh wow! Look at that, and the jitter is amazing.
So now I want to make everything is a bit more dramatic, and for it I have a model of this knife. So we're gonna attach this knife to the last bone, and it will try to kill me.
Okay, the Terminator. We're building the Terminator here.
So in GeoTracker, I have now on the results tab lots of different options, and I have to export bone for joint 6, the last bone. So now I have a transform geo for it. It's not linked to the original GeoTracker, unfortunately. It's kind of a limitation of table, because we have to calculate the combined transformation, and it's impossible to link it to some knob here. So, and now I can apply it to my knife, and let's create a scene for it. 1, 2. Yeah, so where is my knife? Okay, I add one more transform geo here. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I'm gonna put it somewhere. Oh, it's also uncentered. Okay, Indonesia. This one, this one. Okay. Okay, something like this. So when I look at it in 3D, you see now this knife is moving exactly like my last ball. So I can now, for example, add a scanline render here and use my original camera, background, and here it is. I can now light it a bit, add some
It's
light.
looking so cool already.
Like, okay, directional light, and add some, for instance, fog on my object. Okay, something like this. Probably I should also add some normals. They're a bit wrong. Probably I have to invert them. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, let's delete everything.
Look at that.
And of course, we can export it to some other 3D software with the help of ReadRiggedGeo node.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
It is really cool because with this you can export to any 3D package, and then you get the proper lighting and the proper texturing and the proper, but the actual tracking and movement is coming from a 2D package, which is Nuke, which is crazy because now we are not at the end of the pipeline. We are in the middle and in between, and something is quite cool.
Yeah, but if we are in the end of pipeline, for example, we want to use it for some cleanup. For instance, recently one of our users tracked, I don't know how it's called in English, but some stuff on the knees of goalkeeper. And he had to delete them. And he did everything with GeoTracker, and he created a simple model based of just one joint for knee, and delete everything like in several hours. It was just a time saver for him. So also, yeah, basically let's switch to the other demo. Probably even more impressive because this thing I could imagine how could be tracked in even with just ordinary GeoTracker without rigs, just piece by piece and so on. Potentially it's possible, but let's switch to a bit different demo, and it would be a demo with Monopoly board game. So we're gonna track this, let's start from the very beginning. We're gonna track this 4 different cards which are connected together. Some of them are even invisible at some point and so on. And by the way, it's Anthony. It's one of our developers, and I like
Nice.
show footages with my friends. Strange why it's so long. Basically, probably it's because OBS Studio, because it also works on GPU, and that's why it's so a bit long.
Yeah, and also you are catching the whole image at full resolution, so.
Yeah, but it's just HD, so it's probably the smallest resolution you can match.
Yeah.
I remember the time when everybody said HD? Nobody needs it. Too many pixels.
Oh, yeah.
SD is absolutely enough, it's standard.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And then the same was with 4K, with 8K, and now the same with 18K.
Yeah, Ks are never enough.
So that's our shot, and it's pretty long, like 217 frames. So the first thing, we need to actually make a model. The model is pretty simple. It's just 4 squares with a rig. So skeleton is, oh, wrong one. Yep, like this, and this one. Yeah, something like this. So let's undo it and let's create GeoTracker again. By the way, if you select them all and create GeoTracker, it will automatically connect.
Everything is connected. Oh, man.
Yeah, because all of them are of different types. Okay, so now we have to find the frame for the first keyframe. It's a bit, so basically this frame is not that good for it, as well as, for example, this one. So I gonna find some frame in the middle when the model is fully visible, but have some rotations. For example,
yeah, so it's going to represent the volume instead of just the flatness, because it's not going to be good for the tracking later.
Yeah, sure. And then I click Center Geo, and now I can place it. But before we place it, we need to
constrain the rotations.
Set up constraints, right?
Yeah.
So again, I fix the base and joints. So it could be a bit tricky. What's going on with joints? So the joint number 2, this one, it have a rotation around z-axis. Okay. The joint number 3.
So Akam is asking, the rig was created by a 3D package, or we can make by KeenTools? I can answer to that. So I'm a very good student now. So the rig has been actually created in the 3D package, and is included in the FBX that you are importing on Nuke using the import ReadRiggedGeo. The ReadRiggedGeo. Oh my God! Yeah, the name, you have to change that name. So yeah, the actual rig is created in a 3D package, and there is import inside Nuke. And what is import? You have all the capabilities inside Nuke to play and to do exactly what Roman is doing right now.
Well, I want to add to this that intention behind this was that because different software, for example, Synthesize of PFTrack, gives the ability to set up groups or hierarchies inside the software. We decided that we don't want to make one more skinning software, because there are lots of different software. Some of this piece of softwares are free, for example, like Blender, which actually made for this, and that's why we just don't want to repeat the same thing in GeoTracker or in Nuke and so on, because obviously Nuke is not for skinning.
Yeah.
So we set up constraints for the joint number 3, and let's go to joint number 4, and also we could rotate it around the X. That's it. So now we can verify that everything is okay. So I switch to full frame and let's drag them. Sometimes it could be a bit tricky, but everything is okay here. Cool, so very easy to do. And the full power of this approach you can feel now when to set up everything I used like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pins. 8 for 4 squares. If you're gonna track them separately, you will use at least 3 pins on every square, so like 12. If you're gonna track it with corner pin, you will have like
12, no, 16.
16, yes, something like this. So yeah, now we are done with the first keyframe. Also, I've already calculated some pre-calculation file. Trial, okay. Pre-calculation file for this mono pre-calc, and let's track it. Okay, let's track it forward first. It would be probably a bit easier. Up. It's oh, by the way, we somehow set up 2 keyframes here. Okay, so here everything was okay, but here we lost it. So I'd like to set up 1 keyframe here. And this one is a bit, yeah, like this. It should be under this one, yep. And here, okay. And click refine button. We're gonna make this demo probably to the very end, because there are some tricky things. Okay, almost okay. So next, here, we definitely need keyframe here, just before all this stuff disappeared. So we're gonna set up keyframe here and here, because otherwise it just lose it. So first set up keyframe of too many pins here. The cool thing which we have now, for example, we can select several pins and click on pin. And now they are all yellow and we can activate them one by one. It's very useful when you track rig geometries. Up, something like this. Here, okay, click refine. Okay, and the next, if we track 1 frame forward, we see that we lost it, and we'll just do something like this and track forward. Up, it's a bit. We'll close it as well. Refine. It's okay. Let's go forward.
Eric is telling us that I didn't know you could select pins in a group. I assume this applies to face tracker too.
Yep, you can select any number of pins and actually move them together, which actually we created it specifically for this, for objects which contains of different parts. So here we need to set up keyframe here. You see, we see just one part of this tile, but we can perfectly place it in 3D space. And let's close this one. Okay, and let's refine it. Okay, some reason I lost this. Refine. Okay, let's fix this one. This one again. Yeah, sometimes it's tedious. But without it, it would be more tedious.
Yeah. To be honest, even if it seems like easy, because you have like, oh yeah, it's like 4 cards, but it's actually super articulated and very complex. So yeah, just to get a high precision thing, you need to spend time, because also you have parts of the cards that are getting hidden by behind the other, so it's kind of a mess. It's not that easy. So it seems easy because the shape is simple, but it's not a simple movement. So there are 2 different questions in there.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest someone to track this in, let's say, Mocha, for example.
Oh yeah, the 2D way.
Even
no
that,
way.
Even that Mocha is made specifically for tracking flat objects, but I'm afraid you're gonna be disappointed and a bit upset. Okay, here, and where is that? Okay, make it more like here. Yep, and refine it. Quite a lot of keyframes already, like 9, but I believe for this short it's okay. And yeah, and the variant should be faster. You see, even this arm, which occlude the game, it actually doesn't matter a lot. But of course, we can select it with a 2D mask and exclude it from solver, but it seems it doesn't affect a lot. So as I said on previous stream, before trying masks, try without them. Sometimes it's just okay. So let's track now. It's backwards, and we go this direction. Oh. So for instance, here we're gonna set up keyframe. Okay, let's set up keyframe here. Everything is okay here, but there are probably some pins, more pins like here and here. But now I can drag it, and when I drag it, it automatically plays the tile which is invisible now. So when this tile. So when I drag this tile, it plays this tile, and that's the thing. That's the power of rigs. Why I like them.
Nice.
Cool. So let's create refine. And
yeah, that is one of the advantages of working with the 3D space. Is like you have another point of view always. While in the 2D space, I mean, nothing wrong with planar tracker or something like that, but the ability that you have with a 3D space is something that has been specifically designed for volumes. And even if this table in there is just like a 2D surface, it's actually a volume, because the way it's folding, it creates a volume in total. So if you analyze every tile singular, yeah, it's a plane, but all together it's a volume. So that's why I will go with my choice. My first choice for this would be like using this kind of 3D tracking instead of going for the singular planar tracker. Because it's true, the planar tracker is faster when you have something that is always on the plane and is shifting a bit the perspective. But in here, it's changing the volume. Every time you have volume involved, don't go with the 2D solve. It's not gonna work.
by the way, skeletons are not only about rotation. For example, if you have a table and some object on a table like cup of tea, or I don't know what, like some thing which is moving on the table. Actually, it's also a skeleton. The one bone on table, the other bone on an object, and you can orient it such like you can just fix rotations like this and fix movement, for example, on z-axis, and leave just 2 degrees of freedom to move on the table. And so skeletons are not only about rotations. So what's going on here?
So it's very interesting because you can put elements in relation, not even, I mean, not for bones, the actual bones or elements that are part of the same whole, but you can have 2 different elements and behave like one object as in tracking wise. So it's really cool.
Yeah, so it's much wider notion actually, just like the skeleton. It's just some relations, absolutely. So yeah, we are almost done. I'm fitting the last keyframe. Hopefully it's the last one. So let's switch center view and play the whole sequence. Let's wait while it will cache. So probably we have some questions at the moment.
Well, we have Igor is telling you can ask any match move artist how to track the rig with connected cards, like this event, even in 3D equalizer. It's kind of hell, especially when the card is hiding behind another. Yeah, it's what I was mentioning before. It's at the end, even if they are cards, it's a 3D volume what you have in there. So it's really, really tricky, even if it seems simple. And also, let's not talk about the reflections and any other disturbance that you are going to get. But you have a reflection in one side, and maybe the other side don't have the reflection. Well, the tracking that is in the other side is helping that side to get the right, thanks to the constraint. So it's really, really smart. It's very well designed.
Yep, so we are done with this tracking, like in 15 keyframes. I see something strange here. Well, it's not intended to be here.
By the way, we have Hugo Guerra here. Hey, man! Hugo is a big, I mean, he's a great friend of mine, and also of Roman. He's one of the best out there. So in case you are missing, he's doing streams every week, and you should go and visit. And if you have a showreel, go to him. He's the one to go.
Well, fortunately, I don't have a showreel.
I have to put my showreel, Hugo. I will send, as soon as I have mine, I will send you, man. Well, I'm a bit scared because he's really good. He's spotting everything that can be better. I'm a bit shy.
Oh. One more issue somewhere here. Oh, like here. Yeah, there are some strange stuff with invisible objects. Click refine on it. So next, what we are going to do next, we want to make some projections now. So just ordinary stuff like project, 3D, project on front, camera and background, and apply material on it, on the tracked object. Something like this. And where it is? Here it is. Again, in Nuke we have to wait one full cycle. Where
just to see the whole animation the right way.
Yeah, because otherwise we can't see projection. I don't know why, but yeah, the story is pretty strange.
So Eric is telling us a huge advantage is if you look at the unwrapped texture map, you get a stabilized view and then can add elements or manipulate the texture map with very clear reference. Absolutely. UV unwrapping, that is one of the oldest tricks in the noble art of compositing to help a lot with the painting stuff, and especially in faces. I mean, with the face tracker, this is like one of the star features in here. So, but yeah, everything is really cool.
Yeah, something like this. And yeah, so it looks pretty okay. Probably we have some inaccuracies, so we can always check them in scanline in UV. Okay, let's do this unwrapping. So we need to switch to UV mode, and whoa, what's going on? Pretty strange.
In case someone is asking, and as Eric mentioned, you of course need to have the UV's map in your, I mean, from the 3D package. They just need to be right on the 3D model. So that is something you don't adjust in Nuke. I mean, there are certain tricks you can apply in Nuke, but it's better that the UVs are set up correctly from the 3D package. That is rule of thumb.
Usually UV projecting, when you create UV from projection, is not the right way. And also you can't bake it. That's By the way, for projection, did you know that we have a special node for this? It's called Texture Builder. And it's actually pretty cool. I'm gonna show it. So yeah, there are some inaccuracies. We obviously can fix it, but I don't want to do it right now. I want to substitute that this thing with another texture, so with this one. So I'm gonna merge it now and place it instead of my object. Okay, something like okay. And here, cool. And now we need to, what we need? We need to apply material. What's going on here? Apply material and use some constant, not contact, but constant instead of this. Yeah, so something like this. And yeah, here it is. So now we can render it with a scanline render, background, object, and camera. Yeah, it looks okay. So we can check now how it looks in 3D with changed texture. While it's cached, I'm gonna show you Texture Builder.
Look at that.
So
so great.
Texture Builder is a node with 3 inputs like camera, geometry, and background, exactly like GeoTracker. But it will create the texture based on projection. And also, yeah, let's wait a little, and probably even this part is enough. Okay, let's wait for the whole sequence. How is the weather in Rome now?
Well, right now it's raining like hell.
Wow, it's like a dream, because in St. Petersburg it's damn hot now. Like
really,
and nobody has air conditioning in St. Petersburg because we have summer just 1 week in a year.
Yeah, so for 1 week you are not going to spend
but
that.
But now we are just right in the middle of this week. Yeah.
Look at that.
And that's it.
Wow.
And we did it like in several minutes.
Yeah.
Texture Builder. Texture Builder is a node which actually works like project 3D and scanline render, but it's a bit more versatile. Like, so yeah, let's go. So I use geometry from GeoTracker. So it's already geometry which attached to, which already tracked. So then I can use camera and background, and here it is. So in here we can set up frames and write some frames where we would like to take projection from. So for example, frame number 57. Voila. Now we have projection from frame number 57. Or I can merge and stick different projections together. Let's say I don't have frame number 57, and for example, let's say we have a frame here, like it's frame number 23, right? So I can take frame number 23, and the projection and texture builder looks like this. So only good part here is this one, because and all other are like junk. And then I, for example, want to take some projection from this 125, and I just added 125, probably without comma, and that's it. So it's also added several, so it's merged different projections together. It's nice. Especially it's useful for face builder when you grab texture.
Different sides of the volume, so you can get avoid the perspective when you don't have good areas because of the stretching of the perspective. Something that we have to deal a lot every time you are reconstructing a model. And it's quite cool.
And actually, it intellectually merges them together. So it's merged them based on stretching. So if you see something really stretchy, it would be just really transparent. And if you see something in direct angle, you can use it like something that you can trust.
So it's kind of calculating the Fresnel angle, and depending on what is facing towards the camera, that is the pixel that is prevailing against the others that are more angle. That is really cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah, texture builder is just really useful nodes for cleanup, for example. So you can, for example, here write like something like -5 till 5, and say relative to the current frame, and it will automatically merge all frames 5 to the right and 5 to the left together. And you see, for example, here it we almost lose this arm because of it, because it's stick them together, and you can always add some alpha to input, so it will also use alpha, and you can remove first alpha arm with rotor, and it will delete it and stick and still stick it together. So you can easily create clean plates based on projection using this texture builder node. And
it's just saving a huge amount of time by doing things manually of something that can be, as you are doing, calculated by the computer.
Yeah,
they are faster than that.
Usually what you do for this, you do frame hold, another frame hold, another frame hold, and then try to stick them somehow with different alphas. But this time everything is much more handy and automatic merging them together. So texture builder is something which is pretty, it's like a gem which nobody knows about. So it's still in beta, and many of our users use it just for face building, for grabbing texture for faces, but it's really time saver for general compositing. That's why it's a different node.
Yeah, there is always a certain resistance. Once you know a way of doing things, there is a certain resistance to learn something new. But in this case, just by learning how to use a node, you are saving several hours of one task. So that is something that changed the work of, for projections.
Yep.
I admit, I never used it before because I thought, well, I can use my own way. You are always in a rush. So, but now that I know this, oh, come on. Thank you for inviting me. This is very educative. It's really cool.
Cool. So, basically, we are done with the main part of our stream today. So, I think that I showed almost everything regarding tracking of simple objects with skeletons. And here we have explicitly say that if you have lots of different bones with lots of transformations and so on, with lots of degrees of freedom, it would be still really hard to use it. There are some ways how to simplify it. For example, if you place one part of the object, you can fix all other parts of it, and then you can fix the part that you already placed, and then unfix other parts and place them, and so on. And I even know several companies which use this stuff for tracking full bodies. As for me, it's kind of a huge pain, because in full body, like let's open some rig with full body. For example, here I have a model of me. Where is the model of me? One moment. Where it is? Here it is. Sorry. There is still, it seems there is still calculation in here. Okay, I've already calculated it finally from grabbing texture from 21 frames around the current one. Okay, so let's cache clear everything. Such an important operation which we click from time to time. And let's switch to some more interesting stuff. So now I want to show you, Victor, several new stuff which we are working on right now. It's
secrets. It is really cool.
They are not that secret because we are live now, but
I forgot about that.
at the same time, I just really want to know your feedback on it. So, let's open this project. Here it is. It's a model of me. The story of it is pretty funny because I was in a business trip in Berlin, and I was I was working in how it's called, in a mall, just to buy some presents and so on. And I see like small small shop. It's kind of a shop when you where you can print yourself, like.
I saw one of those. Yeah.
And I decided, I need a model of me for future tests. And I said, no, I don't need printing of me, just please scan me. And it's like 7 seconds, bzz, it scanned me naked, and now I have a model of me, and all tests we do with full body tracking we do on me.
Well, someone has to do it.
Here it is, and yeah, it's some Mixama rig, which is like semi-automatic, which is pretty good, I say. So you can skin any model in Mixama easily. But it has like how many? I need to open properties again. Sorry. Remind tomorrow. What's going on here? Okay.
If anybody is having any questions, just write down on YouTube and keep an eye. So guys, ask your questions to Roman. It's not always that you have the opportunity to talk to the developers of one of the most amazing tools.
So even here we have like 22 bones, and then we need to set up constraints on all of them, which is pretty hard, but it could be done once, and then you can use this model for tracking. But even you have all these constraints, you still gonna have lots of issues with Z, so-called Z problem. Because of you have only one angle of view, you can't understand the one of the volumetric axis, like camera axis. For example, look at my arm. Is it on my forehead now or not? Actually,
it looks like so. Yeah.
No, because there are like 5 centimeters between the arm and forehead, so you can't estimate it using just one camera. So and that's why it's really hard to place the model, and it's like a nightmare if you have this model in GeoTracker, because so many different degrees of freedom. So that's why now we are working on, we call it body tracker or human tracker, but currently we call it just Hooman, and and now it works inside GeoTracker, and everything is pretty the same, like background, camera, and geometry. So like here, okay, but This time, let me open just one viewer. But this time, let's take a look at this sequence. It's pretty long. I'm going to do some exercises here. So let's say I want to put me in this pose. So in GeoTracker now I have a Hooman top, and in Hooman top, well, what's going on? Actually now it has a neural network inside, and this neural network knows how generally a human can rotate its bones. So what poses are more how it's called, more likely,
you mean natural?
more natural, yeah. more likely to be in real, and so on. So let's drag and drop. So everything is pretty the same. I just drag and drop pins like ordinary in GeoTracker. Let's rotate me. But now when I'm gonna track it, it will
shut up.
Deform the model
seriously
accordingly, like for real person.
So it's preserving the human shape just to keep like the natural position of the body. So it's not going to make an articulation move towards a rotation that is impossible in a human.
Yep.
Wow. Which is a lot. That is a lot.
And it's huge time saver for automation artists and in future for tracking. And well, basically that's it. That's the thing. It's quite
Come on.
So like in several pins, we set up the model and it's incorrect. And it looks okay
wow.
in 3D. So, and then you can set up some keyframes. For example, here, by the way, here it's really useful to unpin model and pin it one by one. Sometimes it's tricky.
Yeah.
Especially if you.
Of course.
Yeah, let's.
We all have been there.
Sometimes.
But you can also have the view on the regular 3D space and more or less position if you have this kind of tricky positions.
Yep.
Wow.
So sometimes you just don't see which pins you already set up. Something like this, and now this. Oh. It's still in early development, and if somebody asked me when it will be released publicly, I have no idea. It's still in development, and actually the very important thing is who will be the beta testers for it. So if, for example, one of you guys have a project which heavily involved body tracking, actually we'd like to participate.
Nice.
So something like this. Unfortunately here my head actually is stitched from some other model. It's not my head. It's a bit of different scale. Something like this. Yeah, but you see it here. That's the Z problem. So
yeah.
Obviously everything is a bit different, but yeah, sometimes it's really hard to looking only on one angle of view. you can't place a model correctly. Yeah, something like this. Yep, that's an issue. And that's why we are working now on a second thing, which is multi-view tracking. So here I've actually have two different views on this, like this. One view is like this and one on this, and they are already synced. So I've shot it with two different cameras.
Yeah.
And then I used KeenTools for placing these cameras on a correct place based on floor geometry. So I just measured the floor with a ruler and created a simple geometry right in Nuke. And then, with the help of KeenTools, I've placed both cameras in sync in 3D. I've layouted them based on this geometry and exported them. That's why we have two input cameras just for their parameters, and these two cameras are already in a correct place in 3D. So it looks like this. Everything is pretty easy to lay out, like in several clicks, if you have some geometry.
You can use the actual camera and then a witness camera, so a secondary camera that is just going to be a second view for the positioning of that. So you don't even need, I mean, if you are shooting for a film with an Alexa, you can shoot with any other camera just to have a secondary view. Of course, the higher the resolution and the quality, the better. But you don't need to have like the super huge amount of expensive rigs for doing this. So it's just a second camera just to have enough information from another perspective, which is really great. It's kind of a motion capture, but just with less point of view. And then
but the thing is that usually in this multi-view pipeline with lots of cameras, it's a huge pain to use these cameras because you have to track individual features on every of camera, then match these features together and say that, and then you have to align these cameras somehow, co-align them and so on. And here we actually can align them easily based on some geometry in a scene, which is pretty easy way to co-align several cameras. We actually discussed it a lot on a very first stream when we were talking about KeenTools. So now we have two cameras and one object, basically me. And I create now one more GeoTracker, and I connect it to the other camera and to the other footage and to the same model. And now the thing, in GeoTracker, currently it's a human tab, but again we're gonna fix it. We have this group field here, and we can assign the same group for them, like for example G1, and here G1, and now they know that they track basically the same object and they will work together. And let me show how it looks like. So I have two viewers here, and let's say viewer 2 will be the right GeoTracker and viewer 1 will be the left one. And here it is, two different views. And
oh wow!
So now I can see the same model from different angles of view. And here I can fix it, and it will almost fix nothing here, but fix in this projection.
Yeah. Oh wow. So it's really cool because it's trying to match both views at the same time. So it's correcting the perspective issue.
Yeah, so it's basically like, well, it's multi-view how it should be done, I say. So without manually tracking lots of different points because it's really hard to do usually. It's still in development, and the cool thing that it relates not only to how it's called, tracking of, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, the leg just got twisted.
Not only to human body tracking, it also relates to tracking of just ordinary objects and faces and so on. So this approach to multi-view, but I actually currently I don't like this approach with group. It's because otherwise, like when you look at node graph, you can't see it, that these GeoTrackers are bounded to each other somehow, that they walk as a team, and that's an issue. I don't like what's going on here, to be honest, but yeah, finally we, I think, come up with a proper result. I think that initial frame was pretty far.
While you are doing that, I'm going to read you a few comments, which is, whoa, like face builder, this is incredible. so yeah, people is very excited about this, and I have to say is really cool.
Well, now the model looks terrible.
But natural. Looks terrible but natural.
I don't know why, honestly, but again, it's just early stages. Like when we release it, you will remember this moment and and understand how long was the road between the actual result and
But I mean, come on, you're trying to do something extremely complex, like, you know, the human body and all the rig just in a few minutes. So, I mean, no way. If you do that, I quit. I just leave compositing and I open a restaurant. So, no, please, at least give me something to do.
Let me unpin them, and now I'm gonna activate pins one by one, just to because there are too many pins now, and probably because of it everything looks so weird, and I'm gonna activate them. Why I'm dragging you here? Why you're not dragging? What's okay, probably here. Samples number. It's just some magic parameters. Don't look at it.
Okay.
Oh, whoa. Fool me. Yeah, sometimes everything looks really strange. I don't know why. So
yeah, but no worries. We can get the paste.
Basically, it was more for demonstrating the approach. And by the way, if you or somebody in comments could suggest us how better make this experience when you team up several GeoTrackers together, how make this user experience smoother and more natural, it's highly appreciated.
Eric is suggesting that it would be very powerful if you could create an alternative 2D view of the 3D model using another camera or a frozen 3D view, so you could adjust the geo to fix the set issues. I mean, that maybe I'm not understanding quite correctly, but maybe what you mean is what Roman is doing right now, which is going to the 3D view, fix it in the 3D view, so you can have the model, because I mean, as a human, you understand the position better than the computer. So you can go to the 3D view and then fix it by eye and then try to recorrect. I think just by having the two views, that is more than enough. I mean, the logic is the same like the model builder. I'm just oversimplifying things. But in the model builder, the first keyframe is just to understand the first point, but you need a second point of view. just to
Yep.
put things in perspective. It's like the stereoscopy. We have two eyes to understand the distance between ourselves and other objects. So that is what gives us the three-dimensionality of the perception. So in here with two cameras, you can have many things. And if you need to have extra twitches, I will go directly for the 3D view. So Eric is replying, but perhaps you can only use the 2D pins, so 3D view has to be changed to a 2D image with a scanline render, I guess is what you say. For example, scanline render, yes. Well, that is a suggestion. I leave it to Roman, just to leave that. In my opinion, is I will use more witness cameras.
The current approach that we have in mind is to use to have ability two different things. First of all, have 3D pins. Like click on any pin and have an axis right here and drag it in 3D. Because sometimes, for example, arm is somewhere here and you know that it should be a bit closer. So you can click on it and just drag it in 3D. And sometimes it's much simpler than trying to match it with projections.
Yeah, but my eye in the 2D view. Yeah, that's what I mean.
So because in 3D you can rotate it as you wish. By the way, we placed it and it's already it's almost on its correct place on a floor, as you can see. Like there are several centimeters issue, but actually, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, but come on, it's precise. I will say precise enough for the time you are expending and for being a tool in development. So
the thing is that the tool should give you ability to spend more time and get the better result. Sometimes you spend more time and get just the same result. And actually, I say that we now in a point when we need to improve the customability of this tool, when you can change small parts of the geometry and so on and so on. So basically that's it. So what I just presented, first of all, intellectual way to deform human beings, and the second one is a multi-view approach for tracking in GeoTracker. So basically it's two probably next things. The multi-view comes first, obviously, that will appear in GeoTracker. So and that's it. And let's switch back to our presentation. And now questions. Now we have time for questions. And if you have questions, Victor, or somebody in the chat,
I'm going to give preferences to the followers that they are online right now on YouTube. So guys, if you have any questions, it's your time now. In the meantime, someone is writing. I'm going to ask you: is this all these implementations that you are always constantly working? Are they going to be included in the package, or are they going to be like separate plugins that you need to get? Like, is this part of the KeenTools? As soon as it gets released, you get it?
Well, currently we have approach of different. So we don't have a bundle like KeenTools bundle. The only bundle that we have right now is for faces, Face Builder plus Face Tracker. Actually, because they really plays well together. Of course you can, but sometimes, for instance, you can get the model of face just scanning the person and then retopologize it in our topology and track it in Face Tracker. In that case, you don't actually need Face Builder. So you can buy it separately, or you can buy them together and so on. So there are options. But at the moment, we are not in a position to release some common bundle, because the thing is that we sell subscription stuff, And because it's subscription, it's really hard to identify, to set up price for it. If it would be a common bundle and we'll add, because you buy, if you buy KeenTools and we release some new stuff, for example, body tracker. Body tracker is just huge improvement in the whole line of these products. So, and it's really a heavy part of it. And obviously we would like to make it the license a bit more expensive, but we can't do it because it's subscription-based stuff, and I do believe that you can't increase prices to subscription without any significant reason for it. And a new product is not a significant reason for increasing price for bundle, as for me. So that's why we can't sell bundle at the moment. So when we will have like 5 nodes, 5 paid nodes, we have 3 right now, then 5 or 6, not that big difference. But currently, we're gonna release it separately most likely and sell it separately. Probably we will have some local bundles like GeoTracker plus body track or something like this, but not the whole thing. And one more thing about it is that I'd like also explain some ideas how we release the stuff, because we have always long betas, and we won't take money only for something which was hard to do. For example, texture builder. It was created in several days, basically, like really, because we understood that there is a option and issue, because people really struggle when creating the texture for faces, especially for faces, and we released it as a beta. And then we decided we will understand, will it be paid or free later. Now it's in beta. And for example, in upcoming release there will be several huge improvements in texture builder, especially in Blender part of KeenTools. And probably at some point we decide to make it paid node in Nuke as well. But currently I do believe that even it provides quite a lot of value, as you said, for projection artists. It's time saver, but it's still, I don't think that it's enough to be a paid product. So but if we at some point understand and create some really hard mathematics beside it, it will be exactly the same like with all other products.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. I consider, programmers and software companies, that they are part of the ecosystem. So everybody should be like aware that even your company is not that massive company and big, but you are doing a time saving for the whole industry. So I think you guys are supporting the industry, and I guess every artist should support you as we are. So because I remember, thanks to your tools, I'm saving many hours. So those many hours is money and time that I'm saving to my clients. So at the end, it's another way of getting everybody happy. My client spends less. I can just destinate a bit of that saving of my client. I can destinate that to the software that is helping me. So it's going to help you to build other tools to make me save more money. And, it's all an ecosystem. So I really believe that for what it's worth, it's just saving so much time and effort to everybody that the cost is very nice. So thank you for your contribution to the industry. It's really cool.
We have one more question from Kasun. Is there a plan to make a Maya plugin? Well, we are working on it. We are working on Maya plugin, and the first thing which we are going to release would be a face builder. Stay tuned.
Nice.
And probably then we are gonna port other plugins as well.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions in chat?
How about Houdini?
Houdini.
That is the question.
By the way, well, regarding Houdini, I don't know. Well, first of all, it's not in the plan at the moment. And we don't feel that there is a strong demand for it in Houdini right now. Probably it is, but we can't probably estimate it at the moment. Houdini is getting more popular, but I'm not sure that time we spent on making this plugin will be paid off at some moment, because it's a huge job. To Houdini,
Yeah.
it's a huge job, and market is not that big. Probably even Nuke market is bigger, while it's really small. But there are not so many compositing artists in the world.
Yeah. Someone is saying, and what about After Effects? It's likely not to be in the pipeline. I can answer to that. No way, no After Effects in here. No, come on. You can answer about that. I don't think After Effects have a real 3D space just to build everything in here. It's kind of a...
It's not.
It's a fake 3D space.
Well, hopefully guys from Adobe don't listen us at the moment. It's not about only 3D space, but it's also about the whole ecosystem inside After Effects. I mean developer ecosystem, because it's like really API and everything from 90s, and it's really hard to... For example, there is no OpenGL context, if you understand what I'm talking about. And it's huge pain to write to create plugins for it. But at the same time, I like After Effects, and that's why in my free time I'm working on it. And actually, last night I went to bed at 5 p.m. trying to 5 a.m. trying to working on After Effects plugin and trying to make OpenGL work inside it. Well, because it seems we are short in time, I'd like to highlight two important links. Like, first one is Discord channel, and the other one is our email subscription. We send all news about new streams, and only streams, nothing about products. For products there is one another email subscription, and also we send always all scenes which we work on during the streams. So both scenes with Monopoly game and Kuka robotic arm, we're gonna send them later with all assets, so you can play with them on your own. Several more questions. How do I get in touch for any sessions demo for a team? Just write us to teams at KeenTools.io and we will sort it out. We do it for different teams, and especially now when everything is online, it's much easier for us. And one more question. Hi Keen, Keen is a very powerful tool. Could you also develop it for Fusion? Well, I like Fusion and I like how it's evolving, but I still believe that probably not at the moment, because Fusion is far from community standard now, because most studios are now on Nuke, and for us it's just it would be really hard in terms of budget and resources to create this plugin. So we are thinking about it, constantly thinking, and we already looked at BMD API and so on, but still I actually don't feel this that demand is big enough at the moment. Maybe use neural network like PoseNet, etc. to run quick bone mesh setup input, then refine with that multicom setup you just introduced. Yeah, it's one of the plans. So like PoseNet or something like this. PoseNet probably has license that we can't use, but something like this we are thinking about. Yeah. So some initial placement of the model should be done by a neural network. We do believe so. Yeah, so do we have any more questions in chat? You, Vic?
Well, no, I mean, there is a bit of the discussion about what is the software that you should use, the 3D package. And I would mean, like, you know, if you are working on a pipeline and you are a freelance, you need to get, I mean, if you are a generalist, you are going to have a 3D package of your choice and a 2D package of this choice. I mean, and if you are in the industry as a standard, you are going to use Nuke. So I personally, I prefer to use the KeenTools inside Nuke. That is very, very powerful. And then you can always export and import from any other package. So having the 3D plugin, the native 3D plugin, is not a limitation right now. I mean, I don't need to have the plugin for Modo or for Maya or for any other.
That's because you are a compositor. And you like
Nuke. I'm a compositor, but sometimes I'm expanding to other areas. But I always start from the compositing. What I mean is, like, right now, I can always manage my way to import things from a 3D package.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work on that on Nuke and then export it. So there is always a way. Of course, for a 3D artist, would make more sense to have the 3D package. But use Nuke is so beautiful and so nice, and the icon is very yellow. So why not to use it? Come on.
Actually, at some point it was red.
yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. We all agree on that.
Absolutely. Well, I know that we have a meeting in 2 minutes, and probably we have to wrap it. And thank you, Victor. Thank you for joining us. And actually, this time, as for me, I really was. I enjoyed it a lot, because last time I was speaking with a monitor. This time it was an amazing discussion.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you and with you guys. So anytime I'm here.
Cool, and thank you to all our viewers. And please write us your feedback in a chat or somewhere. Thank you a lot, and share all this stuff with your friends, and how it's called, subscribe and the bell icon. Bye, and thank you a lot.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.